This is a product that I've been wanting to talk about for a while now, and I only really got an opportunity in the past in one of my live streams on Saturday, and I didn't really touch much on it outside of that in individual segments here on the podcast. So I figured I'd take this opportunity to talk about it, mostly because there has been some new revelations and new discoveries within the collectability of this line, and I kind of want to have it all in one place and have the fandom be informed if they want to collect this and understand how to go about it. So what are we talking about today? Well, we are talking about the Transformers Battle on Cybertron Zoteki line. Now, the Zoteki line is done by the company of Jazwares. They're a sister company with Wicked Cool Toys, and they've been around for quite a while. A lot of the product that you see on shelves today when you go to Target and Walmart of Pokemon, Roblox, or Fortnite, that's done by Jazwares. And before that, back in the day, like my first encounter with that company was many years ago with the Mega Man brand. Way back in the day, they used to do all the Mega Man product. Kind of hope they would continue doing that because they made a lot of unique characters that never got figures. But anyways, they're a company that's known mostly for licensing out toys from different companies, and they started doing stuff with Hasbro. And the first thing that they did was the Micro Machines licensing with Hasbro, and they started all the Micro Machine products you see in the die-cast section of your toy stores or toy sections. While they're licensed by Hasbro, it's done by Jazwares. And now they have this Zoteki line. And the Zoteki line essentially is, I feel like it belongs more with that Funko kind of collector mentality of clear boxes with individual pop culture figures. But their gimmick that makes them kind of different from a lot of all those other kind of licenses and concepts is that they have individual figures of pop culture brands, but they all, if collected together, have these individual bases that combine together to make one giant diorama. And they have like Avengers like this, they have Nightmare Before Christmas, they have X-Men, so they have all these different properties. And they have a Transformer one. Now, I've seen the other ones too. The X-Men one wasn't too bad. Big fan of X-Men, but the color, the way it was done, those figures, it reminded me more of the X-Men animated series than, let's say, of the Jim Lee and the comic book stuff. The Avengers one, I really wanted that Thanos. I wasn't able to find Thanos, but that Thanos one looks really good, just between you and me. And then they have the Nightmare Before Christmas one, if you're into that kind of stuff. So the Transformer one here, it's essentially, from what I was able to determine from distributors, from my side of things here in Canada, is they come in cases of 14, and it's 2 of each figure, and oddly enough, there's also a extra chase figure, a 7th figure, if you will. And we'll get into that in a moment, because that's the primary reason why we're doing this segment today, is because of those chase figures and new information that has started to crop up because of that. So the base 6 figures that you get is Optimus Prime, Megatron, Starscream, Soundwave, Grimlock, and Bumblebee. 6 of the legendary 7. I've talked about this many times. When Hasbro does licensing, those are the suggested characters, the 7th one being Devastator, but he wouldn't fit in scale-wise with this. So you get those 7 characters, and they look not too bad. It's one of those things that when you look at the diorama itself, it looks good. It works when all those characters are together. I actually like that background diorama, very, Sunbow, Marvel kind of Cybertron. I almost wish we could have that diorama without the figures on it, because it looks kind of nice, be good for photography and stuff. But I think the only weak one is actually the Optimus. Kind of looks kind of weird, his proportions, but everyone else looks pretty good. It does suffer from one of those things that certain characters, if they're individually alone as a figure and a stand, they look kind of weird, like the Soundwave just kind of running on his own, or I guess the Bumblebee looks kind of weird too on its own. But like the Seeker Jets and Grimlock and Megatron, they look pretty decent if you buy just one and have that on your desk or whatever, display on your shelf. It's one of those things that the intent is to buy them all and build a diorama. That's kind of the collect them all kind of aspect. But what they also have here is this concept of there's a chase figure, and you have to find that chase figure. Now, from what I was told from my friends in EB Games, the case assortments of how that works is it isn't really a chase figure, because it's a case of 14, and there's 2 of every figure. There's 6 of the core figures, and the chase figure is the 7th. There's 2 of each of them, so it's not really a chase figure, but it's we'll say a variation of one of the figures. And so instead of having Starscream, if you go to Target in the United States or EB Games here in Canada, you have also an opportunity to get Skywarp. And that's, hey, you get a different kind. And again, the Skywarp is just straight up a repaint of the Starscream. He doesn't plug in properly with the diorama as an extension of it. You just kind of replace Starscream with Skywarp if you want to. Or you could kind of force him in somewhere there, because there is kind of a universal clip system here, but it won't really work with the final product, if you will, because now you're going to have that same kind of Cybertronian tower, and it would just kind of look weird. But either way, use your imagination. The second piece of information that we learned is there's another chase figure of this. There's case assortments in Walgreens in the United States where instead of that Skywarp, you have Thundercracker. So if you want to get your first 3 original Seeker jets, you got to hit Target for the Skywarp. You have to hit Walgreens for the Thundercracker, and then all the others will be available in the case otherwise. So that's something where if you want to collect all of these, which now at this point it means that there's 8 different ones to collect in total at the moment, that's your spreadsheet pretty much for it if you need to get everything. They look cool. I believe the retail on these are $6.99 or $7.99 depending on location, which isn't terrible. It's a lot cheaper than Funko's and a lot of other stuff that, do kind of a similar thing, but less in a lot of ways. I think they look nice. I mean, at the end of the day, if I had to pick one, I think actually the Seeker Jets are probably the nicest standalone on their own. But I almost feel like the appeal for me is just that background. It's very reminiscent of the old G1 cartoons kind of background and painting style of that old Marvel Sunbow Productions kind of thing. But either way, looks cool. Let me know what you think about these. Again, not many people have been talking about them, and I just kind of wanted to just address them so that if you are someone trying to collect these, here's the other 2 chase figures, where they're available, and how to get them. But otherwise, I mean, it's pretty cool. I mean, it's non-transforming Transformer product is sometimes not popular with a lot of people, but at the end of the day, if you are people that are fans of these kind of characters, especially like Seeker Jet collectors or Starscream collectors, here's your information, here's your opportunity. Go out and buy it.